There's something about being deep in the woods that changes the way you think. The silence, the isolation, the knowledge that help is miles away. It's supposed to be peaceful, but sometimes the forest holds more than just trees and wildlife. Sometimes it hides the things you're not supposed to see. These are 3 real horror stories from people who went camping and came back forever changed. Story 1 by Jonathan M. A few years ago, my friends and I planned a weekend camping trip to celebrate graduating college. We were 5 guys, me, Ryan, Chris, Dev, and Matt, and we decided on a remote site in the Appalachian Mountains, far from cell service and civilization. It was one of those primitive sites. No bathrooms, no water pumps, no designated trails. Just a clearing in the woods you could only find if you knew where to look. We packed heavy: tents, firewood, beer, freeze-dried food, and a decent stash of weed. We were young, dumb, and ready to have one last reckless adventure before adulthood smacked us in the face. The first night was perfect. We drank, smoked, played music from a Bluetooth speaker, and talked about all the stupid stuff we'd done in school. The stars were out, the fire was crackling, and the forest felt alive but friendly. Safe, even. That changed on the second night. It started with a sound. Around midnight we heard screaming in the woods. Not animal sounds, not a distant coyote or a bobcat. This was human. A raw, high-pitched shriek, like someone being tortured. Everyone froze. Ryan killed the music. Chris turned off his headlamp. We all sat in silence, staring out into the pitch-black forest. "Could be another group messing around," Deb said, trying to sound casual. "Then where's their fire?" Matt asked. No answer. The scream came again. Closer. It didn't echo like a scream should. It was sharp and direct, like it was aimed right at us. We didn't say much after that, just killed the fire and sat around whispering. Eventually, we crawled into our tents. I shared one with Dev. The others paired off too. But I didn't sleep. Around 3 a.m. I heard branches snapping. Heavy footsteps. At first, I thought it was an animal, but they were too deliberate. 2 feet, crunch, 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 moving through the undergrowth slowly. Then the screaming came again. So close I felt it in my chest. Dev shot up. "What the feek is that?" I peeked through the tent mesh. I could barely make anything out, but in the faint moonlight, I saw a figure about 20 feet away. Just standing there, not moving, not swaying, just watching. It screamed again. I don't even know how to describe the sound, like it came from deep inside the person's body. It sounded wrong, painful, like it shouldn't be possible for a human to make that noise. I wanted to shout to wake the others, but I couldn't speak. My throat felt locked. The figure finally moved, slowly turning and walking back into the woods. We stayed silent until sunrise. When morning came, we all agreed to pack up and leave. Chris joked about it, saying it was probably some drugged-out hiker, but no one really believed that. We hiked back to the car and didn't talk much. I wish that was the end. A few weeks later, I was scrolling through Reddit and stumbled on a thread about creepy wilderness encounters. Someone mentioned a spot deep in the Appalachians near where we camped. They described the screaming. Then someone else commented, "Screaming pines. Don't camp there. The forest doesn't want you." The thread was filled with stories. People who had seen the same figure heard the same scream. In one post, someone claimed to have followed the sound, only to find a pile of animal bones arranged in a spiral around a burnt-out fire. Another post claimed the figure wasn't alive, that it mimicked people, that it had followed someone home. I stopped reading. I never went camping again, and sometimes late at night I swear I still hear that scream. Faint, distant, like it's echoing from the edge of memory. But sometimes I'm not sure it's coming from outside. If you're enjoying these creepy stories so far, make sure to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more. If you have a terrifying experience of your own, send it to the email in the description below. Story 2 by Sarah K. 2 summers ago, my boyfriend Daniel and I went on a week-long camping trip to the Pacific Northwest. We're both teachers, and we take advantage of every summer break to unplug, hike, and get away from city life. That year, we picked a spot in Olympic National Park, somewhere deep along the Hoh River. We parked our car at a trailhead and hiked in about 6 miles, following a rough trail that veered off from the main one. Daniel had found the location from a backpacking forum. It was remote, scenic, and promised total solitude. No rangers, no designated sites. We crossed the river over a fallen log and set up camp in a flat clearing, tucked against the edge of the trees with a view of the water. It was beautiful, quiet, peaceful. The first couple of days were perfect. Long hikes, campfire dinners, reading by lantern light. At night, we'd listen to the river and the wind in the trees. It felt like we were the only people on Earth. But that feeling didn't last. On the 3rd night, something woke me up. I couldn't tell what. It wasn't a noise exactly, it was like a pressure, a sense that something had changed. I sat up, unzipped the tent, and looked out. Across the river, maybe 40 or 50 yards away, there was a light, faint and orange, a fire. At first, I was surprised. We hadn't seen another soul in days, and there hadn't been any signs of recent camping nearby. No boot prints, no ash piles, nothing. "Daniel," I whispered, nudging him awake. He sat up, groggy. "What is it?" I pointed. "There's someone over there." He looked out and frowned. "Could be hikers who just got in late." We both sat there, staring across the water. There was no movement. No shadows, no voices, just that small fire flickering between the trees. Eventually, we laid back down, but I didn't sleep well. Something about it felt off. The next morning, we crossed back over the log to investigate. When we reached the spot where the fire had been, we found a ring of blackened stones, still warm, but no tent, no gear, no tracks leading away, just the fire ring and what looked like claw marks scratched into one of the trees nearby. Deep, long gouges that hadn't been there before. We tried to laugh it off. Maybe a bear. Maybe someone just made a quick stop and left early. That night, I woke up again. Not because of a sound, but because Daniel wasn't in the tent. I shot up and unzipped the flap. He was standing at the edge of the river, facing across it. Perfectly still. "Daniel?" I called out. He didn't answer. I ran out barefoot, stumbling over rocks. "Daniel, what are you doing?" He turned slowly, like he was waking from a dream. "They're calling." I stopped cold. "What?" He blinked like he didn't understand what he'd just said. I don't know. I thought I heard someone." We went back inside, but I couldn't sleep. Neither could he. The next morning, Daniel was quiet. Distracted. He barely ate and kept glancing at the river. I wanted to leave, but he insisted we stay one more night. "I'll feel better in the morning," he said. "Just tired." That night, I stayed awake, just watching him. Around midnight, I saw him sit up. He didn't look at me, just stood up, unzipped the tent, and walked out. I followed immediately. He walked straight toward the log. Across the river, the fire was back. A little brighter this time. "Daniel!" I shouted. He didn't stop. He started walking across the log, barefoot, half asleep. I screamed and ran after him, grabbing his arm just as he reached the other side. The fire went out. Instantly. Like someone blew it out with a breath. Daniel snapped out of it, looked around, and started shaking. "I couldn't stop walking," he said. "I didn't want to go, but I couldn't stop." We left that night. Hiked the 6 miles back in silence, lit only by our headlamps and the moonlight. We didn't speak until we got back to the car. Weeks later, Daniel told me he remembered hearing a voice, a woman's voice, calling his name, saying she was cold and alone, that she needed help. But the scariest part? He said the voice sounded like me. Story 3 by James T. I used to lead youth groups on overnight camping trips, middle and high schoolers from the local church. We'd take them out for a weekend in nature a few times a year just to help them disconnect and bond. I'd been doing it for 7 years without anything more serious than a sprained ankle or a few cases of poison ivy. But in 2021, during our early fall trip, something happened that made me quit for good. We went to a place called Hallow Creek. It's a patch of forest about an hour from town with old trails, a lake, and a few designated campgrounds. There were 6 of us adults and about 15 teenagers, all between 14 and 17 years old. We set up camp near the water, built a fire, and passed out tents and flashlights. That first night was normal. S'mores, scary stories, kids trying to sneak off to flirt. Around midnight, we got everyone settled down and the woods grew quiet. I was sharing a tent with another chaperone, Phil. Around 2 a.m., I woke up needing to use the bathroom. I stepped out of the tent and walked a little way toward the trees. And that's when I heard it. A click. Not like a branch breaking. A clean, deliberate click, like someone flipping a switch. Then another. I froze. Then, from deeper in the woods, I heard what sounded like a voice, but not speaking. Repeating. It was a child's voice, soft and rhythmic. Hello? 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 Over and over. I turned my flashlight on, scanned the trees, and called out, thinking maybe one of the kids had wandered off. But the second I did, the voice stopped. Silence. I walked back quickly and told Phil. He chalked it up to someone talking in their sleep. Maybe a weird echo. But I knew what I heard. The next day, I asked around. None of the kids claimed to have been up that late. That night, things got worse. Around 3 a.m., Phil shook me awake. Listen, he whispered. From the woods came tapping. Quick, deliberate, metallic tapping, followed by a single word, whispered, come. We both sat frozen. The word came again. Same voice, same tone. Come. Then silence. Then laughter. A child's giggle, brief and sharp. We burst out of the tent and checked on the kids. All accounted for. All asleep. We stayed up the rest of the night by the fire, not speaking much. In the morning, we told the other adults. Some laughed, some looked uneasy. One of them, Mark, asked if we'd heard about the local legend of the Echo Boy. He told us about a story from the 1980s. A kid named Samuel went missing on a camping trip in those same woods. His parents were asleep in their tent when he vanished. They never found him. Just his shoes, one sock, and a digital watch still ticking, left on a stump. They say that if you hear him calling, you should never answer, because he's still lost, still wandering. And now, he wants someone to join him. I didn't want to believe that. Until the last night. I was patrolling the edge of the campsite when I saw a flashlight flicker deep in the trees. Thinking it was one of the kids, I followed. About 50 feet in, I found nothing. No kid, no light, just a stump, and on it, a digital watch, ticking, and the voice again, right behind me this time. Hello? Hello? I ran. I didn't stop until I was back by the fire. The next morning, we packed up and left early. I never led another camping trip again. The forest hides things in its silence. Whispers, echoes, things you're not supposed to hear. But sometimes, when you're alone in the woods, something hears you. And once it knows your name, it never really lets go.